October 14th, 2021, a day that started like any other for the crypto platform Index Finance, ended in total disaster and embarrassment. In one of the world's biggest cyber attacks, $16 million worth of cryptos were stolen in the blink of an eye. Shocked that funds were snatched from right under their noses, the founders took immediate action, searching for any clues they could find on the attacker, hoping to catch the thief before more harm was done. However, news of the hack was rapidly spreading. This meant investors began pulling out their money. The founders needed to find an answer before the entire fund collapsed. How this hack happened is not only insane, but will help you identify scams in the future. The worlds of crypto and DeFi are used to hacks and security breaches. Ronin, Poly Network, Coincheck, these are just some of the most well-known heists, and hackers are only getting more audacious. These could be troublemakers trying to get rich quick, secret groups working for a foreign government, or even real-life supervillains just being bad for the thrill of it. According to Forbes, the crypto theft industry, if you want to call it an industry, is estimated at around $10 billion a year, and that number is only expected to grow. Now back to the catastrophe at Index Finance. What is it exactly? Well, in traditional finance, there are those who want to invest, but don't want the hassle of buying and selling or tracking individual investments. Because, believe it or not, some people have social lives. Not me, but some people don't want to worry about their investments every day. For those people, there are ETFs, essentially a basket of assets like stocks or bonds that you can invest in. These same styles of funds exist in the world of crypto. Crypto ETFs are funds that track a range of several digital tokens and currencies. This is what Index Finance is, a platform for the Ethereum network that creates tokens representing baskets of other tokens. So you get less hassle and diversify your risk, a casual trader's dream, unless your hard-earned portfolio is involved in the world's strangest crypto heist. Now, if you're an investor looking to protect yourself, one of the easiest things to do is just keep a close eye on your portfolio so you know what's going on, which is easier said than done in crypto. Because of this, today's sponsor is a platform that I personally use to track my crypto, CoinStats. With CoinStats, you can track everything from crypto on exchanges to DeFi wallets, all in one easy-to-use platform. They have a free version and a paid version if you're an advanced user. Plus, the link in the description will give you a nice healthy discount on the advanced membership. Index Finance, like many ETFs, is passively managed. Instead of a person making buying and selling decisions, there's this algorithm that ensures that portfolios are balanced. So let's say a portfolio is supposed to be 20% Bitcoin. If Bitcoin surges in price, meaning it's now 25% of the portfolio, an algorithm will help balance this back down to 20%. But this doesn't happen through your typical buying and selling. Index Finance simply creates incentives for its users to buy and sell for them through small arbitrage or profit opportunities. This means that they can actually rebalance a basket without ever accessing any external market. It sounds like a pretty awesome idea. It sounds pretty revolutionary. An index fund where users can essentially be paid to manage it. But this cool idea ended up being a vulnerability. A hacker was able to exploit the way that these pools were rebalanced, allowing them to pull out massive amounts of cash. At 6:37 p.m. on October 14th, 2 index pools were attacked and consequently drained of their assets. The hacker started by taking out a $157 million flash loan. This is an uncollateralized loan that must be returned within a few seconds. It's insane. Within that time, he was able to spend $109 million buying the sushi token in one of the pools. This caused the price of that token within the pool to skyrocket 860x. Now, remember how the pool incentivizes users if one token in the pool makes up too much of the weight of the overall portfolio? Well, that's exactly what happened. Because the hacker was able to make one token worth so much within that pool, he was able to then buy up the pool for pennies on the dollar, before eventually swapping the coins and cashing out with over $16 million in profits. As a result, in a matter of hours, the pools that he attacked lost 85% and 98% of their value. Of course, investors started asking questions and then demanded compensation. Well, the developers probably wanted to walk into the ocean, or at least stick their heads in the sand. They had to take action. But what could they do? After a deep breath, the team rolled up their sleeves and started digging for clues. They needed to find out who did this. There could be a way to save it if they could just find out who. They started to notice something a little bit funky. About a month before the attack, the core members were contacted by an anonymous user. This mystery person reached out under the nickname Umbral Ulipson, later renamed to Bogholder. Nicknames aren't their strong suit. Bogholder was asking questions about the reweighting and reindexing mechanism within their index pools. In retrospect, this seems insanely suspicious, as this is exactly how the hacker gamed the system. Unfortunately, though, the developers answered every question the hacker asked without sensing any danger whatsoever. In fact, the developers were so flattered that someone was interested in their product that they started working with him on some new innovations for the funds. They even paid him $2,000 for his contributions. I mean, after all, everything they used at Index Finance was open source, and they were happy to collaborate. Well, right after the attack, all of Bogholder's messages were cancelled. Suspicious. It couldn't just be a coincidence. Without yet knowing the identity of the attacker, but having strong suspicions, the founders made a proposition that they thought he couldn't refuse. They wrote a public message complimenting the hacker and suggesting he keeps 10% of the score as a white hat reward. Now, this might sound odd, but since this corner of the financial world has little to no regulation, sometimes the only option is to appeal to the good faith and egos of the hackers. Remember the Poly Network hack? In that case, the bold hacker drained over $600 million from the platform. One of the biggest heists in history, period. But strangely enough, afterwards, the hacker came forward and engaged with the victims, explaining the vulnerability that he exploited before eventually returning all the money back to its rightful place. Think Robin Hood on an ego trip. However, Index Finance didn't have the same luck. So what did? They called in law enforcement. But in order to be effective, they needed to have a name. Seemingly stuck in a dead end, they finally got a break. They received a lucky tip from someone on Discord. Apparently, Bogholder participated in one of these hacking contests hosted by the platform C4. Being that he's a decent coder, he actually won a prize. So right away, they got in touch with the C4 organizers, and it turns out the Ethereum wallet related to the attack was the same one associated with the coding competition. Finally, they were getting somewhere. This wallet actually led them to the hacker's GitHub profile. And nothing. A dead end. So they searched the username on the account, mTheoryLord. Remember, egos. And they found a second GitHub account. This one had a code snippet that doesn't look like much at first, but when you look closely, it actually contains a student email address. This email led them to a forum post where the hacker states that he has a master's degree in math and is looking at getting his PhD. They're getting somewhere. The trail is getting hot. After some more searching, they found the hacker, Andian Medjedovic, an 18-year-old from Ontario, Canada. 18. No shit. They were shocked and probably kind of impressed that this 18-year-old who actually has a master's in math hacked their system. Not your typical frat bro. Now, considering the generosity of that 10% offer, the age of the criminal, and the fact that his identity is known, you would expect everything just to get resolved, right? No. Wrong. Immediately, the developers removed that 10% white hat bounty and contacted Andian on Twitter. Their message, give back the money now or go to court. And the 18-year-old hacker responded about exactly how you'd expect, essentially telling them to f off. The teenager didn't deny the attack at all and had zero intention of giving anything back. In fact, he actually mocked the victims and gloated that there was nothing they could do about it because, heck, that's just the way the cookie crumbles in the world of crypto. Being the adult in the room, the founders tried to negotiate with him, but instead of relenting, he just started posting odd poems talking about frogs and God and other nonsense. Unimpressed by his frog games, on December 9th, Index Finance filed a class action lawsuit against the 18-year-old. Like any good heist movie, this is one of those cases that just gets more twisted the deeper you get. According to Bloomberg, the judge issued a search warrant for the hacker's house in Ontario. When the police arrived, they found his family, but no Andian. He was gone, taking his computers and all potential evidence with him. Now, of course, his parents had no idea where he was. We have a runaway teen on our hands, and the plot only thickens from here. Next, in December that same year, Medjedovic voluntarily participated in a virtual hearing via Zoom. He was maybe abroad or in a basement somewhere in Canada, nobody really knows. He spoke very little and had his camera off the whole time. The judge was completely unimpressed and ordered him to appear in court in Ontario at the next hearing. But of course, he didn't show up. forcing the authorities to issue an arrest warrant. All the while, he's been pretty active on Twitter, saying that he was recruiting some of the top crypto lawyers in the world for this case, and he was ready to fight to the death. But how on earth does he expect to defend himself? He stole $16 million. Well, apparently he's using the code is law principle as his defense, which is stirring up a whole lot of debate. Essentially, this principle means that whatever can be done with coding, consequently is ethical and legal. Basically, there's no morals in ones and zeros. In an unregulated sector, the code is considered ultimate authority. So according to him, what he did wasn't a hack or fraud at all. There was a system that had a weakness, and he simply used it to make some money and take that money from a lot of other people. But does he actually have a chance in court?
So if you want to make more money and keep the money that you make, better call Saul.
The American legal system is one that's based on precedents or common law, and these legal precedents are used for future decisions within court. So a case like this could really shake things up. According to many lawyers, the idea that code is law is destined to fail at some point. Think of it this way. Let's say there was a principle called action is law. Under this principle, if you happen to find a door to a bank open, you could just go inside and grab some cash and you'd be free and clear. Or if you saw an unattended bike, you could just jump on it and take it away. There would be a whole lot of poor bankers walking home, but it just wouldn't make much sense. That's why many lawyers say that his defense simply won't hold up in court. But there's more to this. The legal system doesn't just punish action, but also intent. This is why someone could be put in jail for attempted robberies or attempted murders. In the case of Andy and Medjedovic, it could be proven that he had a malicious intent behind his actions, starting from the fact that he had gotten in touch with his target ahead of time to learn more about their system to then exploit it. As we wait and see how this trial turns, another potential problem worth investigating is the corporate structure itself. Index Finance is a decentralized autonomous organization, or a DAO, so its key decisions are made by the holders of the governance token NDX. So far, DAOs are not recognized as legal entities within the US, so we don't know how this will play out in terms of ownership or liability. And meanwhile, what happened to our boy Andy and his boatload of stolen cash? Nobody knows where he is. Some think he's hiding abroad, some think he's gone underground, maybe he's just back in his parents' basement under the floorboards with strong Wi-Fi. We really don't know. In one of his last public comments, he told Bloomberg that he doesn't believe in spending money, before allegedly trying to launder $400,000 through a mixing service. Regardless of what he does with all this dough, he will surely go down in history as orchestrating one of the strangest crypto heists the world has ever seen and creating new legal precedents. From here, I highly recommend checking out our members-only group, Finova. There you can find all of my investments, daily coaching, trade signals, giveaways all the time. And you know what? I'll just show you some of our members' profits. Grab that link to join in the description below.